Hey y'all, hey, it's Kennita, and on this week's episode of With Love Kennita, it is all about Sauce Daddy, this black owned craft hot sauce brand that I learned about almost a year ago on a trip to Alabama. It's owned by Dyllan Russell, and we had the opportunity to do a chat. We had a conversation because I just wanted to learn more about his methodology and how did Sauce Daddy become a thing. And I think for me, what I walked away with is this company is really the culmination of like black boy joy. It was him experimenting with his kitchen, experimenting with his Guyanese roots, and being like, what can I do with these extra peppers and extra basil in my garden? And Sauce Daddy was literally born out of this expression of like creativity and really curiosity. So I was so excited about our conversation. I hope you'll be excited about it as well. So this week I'm releasing that episode and also showing you one of the recipes that I made at home. It's this sauce that I made with a couple other ingredients for this sub sandwich that I've been working on. So that's what's going on this week at With Love Kennita. On the other side of this is my conversation with Dyllan Russell. Enjoy. Hey, Dyllan.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for making time today. I want to hear your whole story. I want to talk about the product. I want to talk about Sauce Daddy. But I want to start off by fangirling a little bit. So I don't know if you remember, but I met you almost a year ago. At Mid City, is it Mid City Farmers Market?
Yeah, the Mid-City Farmers Market. Yep.
I was down there in July for my sister paid for me to come out there for a week. So I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she's down in Alabama, in the Hoover area.
Okay, yeah.
But her homeboy lives in Huntsville.
Okay.
And so we drove to Huntsville. We're driving around, and he's like, let me take you guys to this place really quick. And it was the farmers market. And my sister knows that I love independent brands. I have a database of over like 1,200 independent brands like yours. And this is just what I love. And so I fell in love. And then I had the opportunity to try your hot sauce. And I was like, I didn't even know basil and lime should go in hot sauce. Like my mind was blown. I took your business card. I took like every business card of all the vendors, got back to the car, put you in my database, started following me on Instagram. And so I've been watching your brand, for the past 10 months and just really impressed with what you're doing. Obviously, you have a really great product. But I mean, even seeing you now, you're in stores and like local cafes in Huntsville. Like, I'm just so proud of everything you got going on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's always nice to hear just how much people seem to really be enjoying our products, So that's really why I do it more than anything else. When I made the business, I wanted something that could have, a real impact on the community in a couple of different ways beyond just, making sauce that was healthy but also tasted good, So just seeing the amount of joy that I've been able to, push into the community has really been a great thing. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, so but you actually have a career though. You are by trade an engineer.
I am, yes, but I am doing this full time now, actually.
Congratulations. So what made you decide to make the jump into full-time entrepreneurship, and how long has it been since you've been full-time?
I'd say probably about 6 months now. 6 months, yeah.
Okay. And so what made you decide to make the jump?
Well, really it came down to the amount of time and effort that I was putting into the business and really doing an opportunity cost of what this thing could really be if it was taking 100% of my time rather than 50 or 60% of my time, And while I do enjoy engineering, it's what I went to school for. It definitely has given me, I think, a head start when it comes to create systems and how learning how to implement a successful and efficient business, there are certain aspects of Sauce Daddy that allow me to explore other interests that have always really called me to it, where it's like I'm making physical products, I'm talking to real people, I'm seeing the things that we're doing as a business really bring joy or like entertainment to people in a real way, which isn't something that you always necessarily see in engineering. It's a lot of a lot of lab rooms, a lot of sitting in front of computer screens. So when I thought about that, what do I really enjoy doing? And then on top of that, what could this be if I gave it 100% of my time and my energy? It really was a no-brainer for me. So I took the leap and I haven't looked back since.
Did you did you have to do some prep work before you took the leap? Like, did you have to put savings aside? Did you have to maybe talk to the family or to a partner like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is how, life might be impacted a little bit, like financially, or was this an easy transition for you to make?
I wouldn't necessarily say that it was an easy transition. I
Okay.
do think that it happened at the right time. I Something that I've always been grateful for is that it always seems that when the next stage of my life is ready, there's really no wiggle room. It's just like, okay, this is it. This is what we're doing. And at the time, it really was something to where it was like, it was on my mind. Was I prepared for it? Yes and no. But I do think that for certain things that you're never truly prepared for anything. At a certain point, you just have to take the jump and say, regardless of what my current space is, this is something that I'm going to make work. You
Hmm.
know, so that is the mindset that I was in when I went into doing Sauce Daddy full time about 6 months ago. It was just like, hey,
Nice.
what we're doing, and let's make it happen.
Okay, so you have your mother is Guyanese.
She is, yes.
You're born and raised in Atlanta. How do you go to college in Atlanta? How do you get to Huntsville, Alabama?
Yeah. So had my first job out here. So I graduated tech aerospace engineering in, oh my goodness, was it 2017, something like that? And then got my first job here in Huntsville. So that's what brought me to the city.
Do you think that the success that you're having in Huntsville would be the same if you were in Atlanta? Because Atlanta is kind of like a metropolis of like Black wealth, Black entrepreneurship. To me, Huntsville felt more like my city, Milwaukee. Like we're in between Chicago, Detroit, um, Minneapolis. Like we don't get a whole lot of love per se because we're a smaller city, even though we have some big city amenities. I wonder how you feel about the success you're having in Huntsville versus Atlanta, and how you feel about Huntsville compared to Atlanta for entrepreneurship.
Well, they are definitely two different vibes when it comes to the city, which I feel is certainly obvious. One is a giant metropolis in Atlanta, and it's definitely more of a small town vibe here in Huntsville, although it's growing every year. But I do think that there's a lot of opportunities here in Huntsville when it comes to entrepreneurship, especially because the way that we came up was through farmers markets. When we really started
Mm.
to see a turning point in the business was about 3 years ago. I did my first farmers market at Mid City, actually, September of 2023. And that was when we really were able to start getting our products out in front of people in a real way. When I first started the business in 2020, I made a website and, thought that was enough. I was like, oh, I've made a website. Where's my $1 million? Where's the traffic? And that is not the case when it comes to building a brand, especially from the grassroots. You've got to get in front of people, make them care, introduce yourself, all those things. And I do think that Huntsville put me in a position to where I could do that in a more intimate setting when it comes to our farmers markets. There's 5 to 6 farmers markets that operate on a weekly basis when we're in season here,
Mhm.
which not necessarily common for a lot of cities. I don't know if I would have been able to do that in Atlanta. There's certainly events and things like that, and places where you can find Black entrepreneurs in your community and stuff like that. And that's something that I want to explore in the future as well as we expand to other cities. We're going to be doing some more markets, hopefully in Nashville, Atlanta, some of the places in the surrounding region, hopefully this year and also into next year. But also, I wasn't really in that headspace when I was in Atlanta. When I was in Atlanta, I was going to school, working on calculus and physics, trying to get my aerospace engineering degree. So I wasn't really in the right headspace to look for those sort of entrepreneurial pockets. You know what I mean? So that's something that I definitely am excited to explore going further into the business later this year, if that makes sense.
No, I think you also, that makes perfect sense. I think you also make a really good point about building relationships. And, I sent you audio notes. All my friends know that I live for an audio note. I send so many of them. They said it sounds like listening to a podcast, but,
First audio note I've ever gotten, and I was like, I need to start doing this more.
I started doing them during the pandemic because I missed connecting with people. And it was so easy for me, if someone was to say, "How are you?" It was so easy to just say, "I'm okay." But I wanted people to hear my voice and hear that I was okay.
Mhm.
But to your point about building relationships, that is exactly what I want this podcast, this space to be. People already have the hot sauce that they like, right? That they're getting from the store. What I want is to shift them into saying, but you could have another favorite hot sauce. And it could be Sauce Daddy out of Alabama. And you could pay the extra money for this craft hot sauce that is not only phenomenal, but in terms of taste, but you're also supporting a local business and a Black owned business. And like that to me begins to feel like a little revolutionary, having the ability to connect with brands all over the country. And, to your point about farmers markets, 100%. That's why I love them so much. I wish I could just go to farmers markets year round and
Mhm.
meet different brands. And the one at Mid City was, first of all, it was hot as shit that day. And I was like,
Yeah,
Lord, why did I wear pants?
yeah.
But the
Those
setup
summer
of
months
it,
get hot.
yeah, the space was so beautiful. And how it was set up, it was nice. I think the last vendor I saw on my way out was a guy who made juices.
Mm,
Oh,
mm.
Jesus, that juice was so good. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And so, I did a little bit of research. I know this started off like during the pandemic for you. You had way too many habanero peppers and, kind of wanted to start making sauces similar to how your mom made them growing up. I'm curious now that you kind of have your recipes in place for your two hot sauces right now. What is the future of Sauce Daddy? Where do you hope to see this? Do you want to expand into different markets? Are you hoping to one day sell the company? Like, what are some of your dreams for what Sauce Daddy can be?
Yeah. So when I think about what I'd like Sauce Daddy to be in the next 3, 5, 10 years, it is something that I want to grow as a brand personally. But I something that I always want to hold on to is that I want to focus on the people. I want to create a community that we invigorate and they in turn return that energy to us, rather than us just being another hot sauce on the shelf. I do think that that is an avenue that some people take, but the whole reason why I got into this was so that I could meet people and affect their lives and create change in a positive way. And I don't really think you do that on a shelf. If we're on a shelf, that's great, but that's not my focus. My focus is to entertain and provide for the community that we're in the process of building. So, and by that, I think that means us going to more farmers markets here in town, in the region, doing cool events and things like that, but then also reaching out to them personally online, through social media, through some of the campaigns that we have planned for later in the year. We're doing some things that hopefully will, you know, get people out of the house, get people to do something that they enjoy, fun giveaways, things like that. Just things to where it's like, I feel like there's so few places or times that people get to just truly just enjoy themselves of, without having to think about any sort of external factors or things like that. So I want Sauce Daddy to be a place where people can, even if it's just for a moment, get together and just, have some fun and enjoy some good food and have a good time. You know what I mean? So that's really my focus for the next couple of years. And whether that be through, I'd love to have our own personal space. So currently we rent a commissary kitchen, and I would love to have the same way that Tabasco has Tabasco Island, where you can go, you can see their fields, you can see their process, you can go to the gift shop, you can try new foods, new flavors, stuff like that. I'd love to have some sort of plant or facility or just Sauce Daddy space where people can come and enjoy themselves. We can do events there. They can see our process, all those things. So that's kind of what I'm working toward.
I love that. And I also just want to lift up the fact that, again, like this started because you were gardening your own basil, your own peppers, and even like the original sauce, the mild sauce, which is the one I tried because I need the mild.
Yeah.
That came up through customers saying like, "Hey, this one is a little bit too hot. Can you
Yep.
try doing one a little bit milder?" You have all of these customer interactions. You're having all these moments where like people are really, really into you. I've seen some of the like videos that people have made trying your products. I'm curious for you as Dyllan, like, what is your favorite thing about the product you make?
My favorite thing about it.
Yeah. Just as a
So,
fan of it, like, what is the thing you love about your hot sauce?
okay. Yeah. So, I mean, above everything, I think I like the serendipity of it. So, like what you first said when we got on the call, what the hell does lime and basil have to do with each other, right? Well, what they have to do with each other is that they were all things that I was growing in my own personal garden at the time. So I was growing those habaneros, like you said. I was growing basil. I had lime. So it was something to where I was looking at the things in my own life and bringing them together to see what are some new interesting things that we can make. It was a very serendipitous thing where something I love to do, and I think that goes back to my engineering, my science background, is I just like playing with stuff. Let's put some random stuff together and see what it makes. If it makes a mess, that's cool. But honestly, part of the fun is just making that mess. And every now and then you get something amazing. So I think that's what I like the most about it. And then also just lime, I can put lime on anything. I feel like lime is one of those flavors where it really doesn't matter what food you put it on, it's gonna take it to the next level. So I put myself on literally everything, and it's something that I know that I can put on my foods without having to worry about all the gunk that you see are in your foods and restaurants and just everywhere today. Everything that we make is from raw, fresh ingredients. We're making our stuff by hand. We prep it by hand, we cook it by hand, we bottle it, we label it by hand. Everything that everything that we sell has been touched by me and a person on our team that their most important goal at mind is making sure that we are bringing healthy, good food to our customers. So that's something that I take pride in, and something that I hope that my community enjoys as well.
Okay, so I love that answer. I'm going to ask you to go a step further for everybody who is watching this. Why do people need Sauce Daddy in their kitchen?
Why do people need Sauce Daddy in their kitchen?
Yeah.
So I would say, one, I would ask them, what's the last thing you ate? And two, if you remember, did you enjoy it? I feel like a lot of people, they don't eat food that they necessarily enjoy. They eat food out of
Mm.
necessity. They eat food because, hey, I got a meeting in 15 minutes and I'm 10 minutes late already. Let me grab something either off the counter or on the
Hmm.
way. I'm not even sure what this is really, but hey, as long as I get it down and I can make it to the next thing, that's really all that I'm thinking about, you know? So with Sauce Daddy, something that I always say is what we are in the food entertainment business. We are trying to reinvigorate your relationship with food. We want you to enjoy your food again, even if you're in a position to where you can't necessarily eat the best or eat what you want. You can throw some sauce daddy on that bad boy, and now we're in a much better spot than we were before, you know? So
I
and
will
that,
I
so,
will attest to that.
mhm.
I felt like there was such a deep moment of presence for me when I had your hot sauce because of the flavor profiles that you put together. It forced me to like lean in and be like, whoa, that is exciting. And I just had a little bit on a tortilla chip again, like almost a year ago. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I can't imagine, like it's so good. And so
Yeah.
I love your product, and being able to hear a little bit of your story today is like you're so amazing. Before we go, are there other products that you plan to have within the next couple years, or are you right now just focused on these two primary hot sauces?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do have a couple of things in the works. Some things I can't quite speak about yet, but we do
Okay.
want to bring in new flavors. Our primary focus right now, though, honestly, is accessibility. We want you to be able to take Sauce Daddy everywhere you go. So
Mm.
we have our 7 ounce flask bottles. Then we also have these 5 ounce these 5 ounce boozy bottles that we made. And then we're also, this is something that we're going to be doing. We have these little mini shooter bottles now too. So we're going to be doing a giveaway in the next couple weeks where we have made like 5,000 of these mini bottles, and I want to give them all away. I want to give them all away. Anyone who wants one, just let me know, and we're going to send one to you. All you have to do is pay the cost of shipping. Just because we want to get this in people's hands and, have them try it. And those mini bottles are perfect for, going in your pocket, going in your purse. And we're going to do a little kind of like a contest where we see what's the most exciting or weird place that you can put your mini bottle? Do you take it rock climbing? Do you take it to work? Do you take it to your favorite restaurant? Do you take it to space? I don't know. But then we're going to, do a little gift basket type giveaway thing for the best photos, the best reels that everyone puts in, and send it out to the top 10 people. So that's something that we have planned in the next couple weeks that I think people are really going to enjoy. But beyond that, we do have some flavors that we're working on. Those that are still in the works, but when it comes to our current focus, it's really about accessibility.
Mhm. Well, I love this conversation, and I definitely want to have you come back on because I feel like our next conversation, we should just deep dive into marketing. I think that is one of the areas that small businesses don't have time to focus on. And some people feel like they don't have the capacity, but just like in this limited conversation that we've had, this small window of time we've had together, I've been able to hear bits and pieces of like campaigns coming together and ways to engage community. And I think that that is so genius and so spot on. And so I can't wait to talk to you again just about the marketing of Sauce Daddy. But thank you
Yeah,
for
for sure.
making time today.
Of course, of course. Thank you for making time for me. I know that sometimes I'm hard to grab, so I appreciate you being tenacious.
Well, festival season is approaching, and I did technically meet you during festival season. So yes, that
Yeah.
I completely understand that. All
And
right.
you got to
Well,
come back to Huntsville.
Listen, Alabama, one of the most beautiful states I've been to. Like just driving from the airport in Birmingham to my sister's house, coming out to Huntsville, I was like, this has to be God's country because I have never seen so much lush greenness in my life. And I live on a lake. We have Lake Michigan here. One of the last like freshwater lakes. Like, yes, I can't wait to come back to Alabama. I had such a beautiful time. And I went to my first Waffle House.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotta go to Waffle House. Best hash browns you'll ever have. Best hash browns you'll ever have. Hands down. You can't beat Waffle House hash browns.
I agree with you 1,000,000% on that. I loved Waffle House so much. I had that twice. There was also a Cajun seafood restaurant me and my sister went to. I had them twice as well. I gotta remember the name and then I can text it to you. But thank you so much for making time today.
Of course, of course. Thank you. We'll do this again for sure.
Yes, we will. All right, talk to you later.
Bye.